Welcome to Verified RX, your prescription for success. Brought to you by the Vizient Center for Pharmacy Practice Excellence.
In every edition of the Pharmacy Market Outlook, we write the closer look by segment that features the different segments of the market, including the acute care section, the non-acute care section, specialty pharmaceuticals, as well as pediatrics.
Vizient publishes drug price projections and key market insights for members to support their ability to plan for the future. I'm Gretchen Brummel, Pharmacy Executive Director with the Vizient Center for Pharmacy Practice Excellence and your program host. Today, I'm joined by my colleague, who's the Editor-in-Chief of Vizient's Pharmacy Market Outlook, Carina Dolan, Senior Director of Clinical Oncology, who will give us a detailed view of the newest edition of the Pharmacy Market Outlook. Welcome, Carina. You have some big news for us today.
Thanks, Gretchen. Yes, we are excited to have just launched the summer 2021 edition of the Pharmacy Market Outlook. Thank you for inviting me to talk to you about it today.
Of course, we're so happy to have you. I'm really looking forward to hearing about it. But first, for those who aren't familiar, tell us a little bit about the Pharmacy Market Outlook.
Sure. The Pharmacy Market Outlook is a report that projects out 18 months ahead of the publication and provides a drug price projection for that time frame. We also write reviews on the trends occurring in various segments of the market, detail the key therapeutic class summaries analyzed in the report, as well as address hot topics and any advocacy initiatives affecting pharmacy practice today and what those anticipated trends and challenges will be in the future. We produce this document twice a year. We publish it in January and July. We recently renamed it to Pharmacy Market Outlook, so our long-term members are most familiar with the previous title of the Vizient Drug Price Forecast.
That's good to know. And I understand there's a lot of work that goes into this, multiple people, many hours. Tell me, how do you calculate the projections?
Yes, it's a huge project, and it does take a large army of contributors to produce something of this magnitude. The analysis uses data from Vizient Pharmacy Program participants' aggregated purchases, including price and volume for in-hospital and non-acute facilities. The products analyzed are made up of the top 85% of pharmaceutical purchases, meaning the dollars spent on a line item basis that are purchased through pharmacy-authorized distributors in those hospital settings. Also non-acute and pediatric settings. This time frame was from April 2020 through March 2021. I would like to note, though, that purchases made through the 340B program were excluded from the analysis, as well as any direct purchases that hospitals make. So this could include also products that are outsourced by the hospital.
Well, that's interesting. So what is the projection for this round?
We project for January to December of 2022, the estimated drug price inflation rate will be 3.10, which is a slight increase from the January 2021 edition. And I would also say that this projection estimate is a prediction of drug pricing behavior only. We do not include volume or utilization or mix in our methodology, and we also do not include investigational medications in the pipeline that have not yet come to the market.
Well, that does make sense. I know there are other price forecasting reports out there. How does the Pharmacy Market Outlook stack up?
There are a few other organizations that publish a forecast, such as ASHP's National Trends in Prescription Drug Expenditures and Projections, and other publications do incorporate pharmacy volume and mix into their future pharmaceutical projection range, and this would be the main difference that can contribute to the various projections seen across all the different publications.
So what's different this year?
The estimated drug price inflation rate for the upcoming calendar year is anticipated to have a moderate price increase. Again, the estimated price change weighted by Vizient purchases will be 3.10%, which trends towards a slower price increase. And we believe this persists largely due to the increased utilization of high-cost medications, as well as generic entrance to the market and additional approvals and the launch of biosimilar products. The largest contributor to drug price increases is still Adalimumab and will remain that way until calendar year 2023. And compared to the January 2021 Pharmacy Market Outlook, numerous changes have occurred in the top drugs by total Vizient member spend, which is reflecting COVID-19 treatments. To help Vizient members with budgeting, I would highly recommend you check out the Vizient Drug Price Forecast Report. This report is in the Vizient Savings Actualyzer Pharmacy. It's a pharmacy platform that you can access through your dashboard on the website. It pulls in your wholesale purchase data and self-populates the projections from the report. There's also a capability to add in your institution's detailed pharmacy purchases, such as direct purchases, purchases from outsourced compounders, etc., to assist in estimating an overall pharmacy budget.
So how can frontline pharmacy staff use this information in their day-to-day practice?
That is a great question, Gretchen. Inside the report, we discuss many of the important challenges members are being faced with today. In every edition of the Pharmacy Market Outlook, we write the closer look by segment that features the different segments of the market, including the acute care section, the non-acute care section, specialty pharmaceuticals, as well as pediatrics. These sections focus on the pharmaceutical spend in those arenas, as well as challenges and specific trends. Frontline staff will also find the projected timeline and approvals graphic extremely helpful, as it shows investigational medications likely to be approved during that timeframe, as well as drugs with upcoming patent expirations. This also includes upcoming regulatory events likely to have an impact directly on the pharmacy department. We also include information on our Vizient advocacy initiatives, as well as key therapeutic class summaries that drive some of the highest Vizient member spend, such as oncology and infectious diseases. This document captures many current and future strategic elements that can have an impact to pharmacy overall.
And you can access that graphic in the podcast notes for this episode. Well, Carina, what advocacy issues and hot topics can we expect?
Our public policy and government relations department at Vizient works diligently to review upcoming legislation, research policies related to healthcare agenda, and coordinate appropriate responses, often with lawmakers in Washington, and evaluate the impact these political actions can have and create the best course of action to support our members. And some of the current high priority advocacy topics include 340B pricing for contract pharmacies, white bagging for provider-administered medications, the Unapproved Drugs Initiative, also known as UDI, and changes to the FDA enforcement of action. Each of these initiatives could have a substantial effect on quality, on cost and labor, and reimbursement to providers. Another hot topic that has recently caught the attention of many providers are drugs approved through the accelerated approvals pathway. Probably the most controversial drug to be approved is Aducanumab. The brand name is Aduhelm. For the treatment of Alzheimer's disease, Aducanumab is the first novel therapy approved for Alzheimer's disease since 2003. And this is a very big deal. The expansion of the use of this drug has the potential to be great. What researchers and practitioners are heavily debating is the clinical progression by which Alzheimer's develops, as well as the research and the trials to determine the clinical benefit of this medication. Sometime back, the advisory committee voted against the recommendation to approve this drug. And what makes this tricky is that the purpose of the accelerated approval pathway is to expedite the approval of drugs to patients in need of life-saving therapies. This pathway reviews preliminary evidence of the drug's benefit based on surrogate endpoints that are used to determine if the drug is expected to have a clinical benefit. So confirmatory trials for these medications are years away from being final and statistically determining their benefit. The community is really divided on this drug, and we also see the same pattern in oncology-related medications. This is a great article that reviews the pathway and some very interesting statistics on drug approvals, the time that it takes for a supplier to receive full approval, and the breakdown of therapeutic classes most impacted. I would encourage everyone to go read this article.
Well, this has been some terrific information. Are there any new topics highlighted this year?
Yes, we have added a new therapeutic class to our review in this edition. For the first time, we have included diabetes and related medications to the Pharmacy Market Outlook. Over the past few years, there have been a number of new medications approved in this space, and we are seeing trends in the increase of utilization around these products as they are added as new anti-diabetic therapy and using them earlier in treatment paradigms, as well as being approved for prevention of cardiovascular events and other disease complications. We anticipate continued growth in this area, and so have added it, at least for now, to the key therapeutic class segments.
Carina, where can our listeners go for more information?
Well, if you are a Vizient member, you can access your report online through the website at vizientinc.com/pharmacy solutions. And once you log in, you will go into My Dashboard for access to the report. And if you are not a Vizient member, there is a public version available to you also on our open website. To access the drug budget report, you can access that through the Vizient Savings Actualyzer Pharmacy. If you have any issues accessing the report or have additional questions, please feel free to email pharmacyquestions@vizientinc.com.
And we will also be sure to post the public version of the Pharmacy Market Outlook in the resources section of this podcast episode. Well, Carina, thank you so much for joining us today to share your insights. It has been great chatting with you. And to our listeners, please join us for more Verified RX podcasts. Subscribe today, like us, and send us your comments. We'd love to hear from you. Verified RX is your prescription for success and is brought to you by the Vizient Center for Pharmacy Practice Excellence. I'm Gretchen Brummel. Thanks for listening.